Hello, my name is El-Taliawi. I'm an assistant professor of public administration and policy science at the University of Twente in the Netherlands. And I'd like to introduce to you my book, The Politics of Refugee Policy in the Global South, published by McGill Queen's Universal Press. Over the past few years, global displacement numbers have increased substantially, reaching around 117.3 million around the world. Refugees constitute almost 43 million of this global forcibly displaced population. Contrary to alarmist media images that suggest otherwise, the majority of refugees are not in the global north, but are situated in the global south, where they originate from and where they tend to move across borders to neighboring states within the same region. In fact, 83% of the world's globally forcibly displaced population resides in low-income countries in the global south. While an international refugee regime exists to govern the treatment of refugees, not all states are party to it, and those that are accorded considerable discretion in deciding how to treat refugees. There's also lack of clear parameters of how states should help each other in shouldering the responsibility of hosting refugees. Therefore, it's important to understand the refugee policy-making processes in the global south, to pay particular attention to them, and to understand them as being distinct from the global north. One of the key reasons is that refugee policy-making in the global south tends to happen in the context of mass displacement, which is very different from the resettlement of individual asylum seekers. This book shifts the focus away from sensationalist rhetoric about mass migration to the global north by focusing on refugees in the global south. It pays particular attention to one of the largest displacements in recent history, namely Syrian displacement, and the host responses of Lebanon and Jordan to Syrian refugees. Global South countries also tend to be sites of unique dynamics because of the relationship to donor states and intergovernmental and international organizations that generate bargaining processes and variations in refugee protection. And so what this book does is that it tries to understand and to analyze how and why states vary in their responses to refugees in the global south. Complex factors override make the granting of asylum and the provision of services to refugees a highly complex policy issue. Building on the concept of complexity, this book presents an analytical framework and methodology for the study of refugee policy-making processes in the global south, and a typology for host government behavior and recommendations for practice. I hope that you would join me and the Local Engagement Refugee Research Network in the book launch of The Politics of Refugee Policy in the Global South.